Hi, friend. Or my Jimmy John's here. Gonna go make some sandwiches here in a minute, but it's time for day 2 of the E100, and this one's fun. This one is entitled "She Said Yes." It's Luke 1 to 180. I forgot last night that I had questions I was supposed to answer, so I'm gonna answer John's later on today in a different video. Yes. So today was basically a reading about um, the conception of um, John the Baptist with Zechariah and Elizabeth, and then the conception of Jesus with Mary and the Holy Spirit, with the side note of Joseph, because they're getting married and whatnot. And the first question is, how would you have felt if you were Elizabeth or Mary? I'm gonna stop right there. That's not the end of the question, but I can't comment on that because I'm a guy and I would have no idea. So if you're a girl, let me know, because that would be actually don't let me know, because I probably would not want to know. So I'm gonna answer how I would have felt if I were Zechariah or Joseph. Honestly, I think it's so easy to look at that parts in the Bible and say, oh, well, I would have done this differently, or oh yeah, I would have done that, like David in the lions did. Like, oh yeah, I would have said there, but no, I would have freaking had a little heart attack being thrown into a lion's den, or those people around the same time as David who were thrown into the furnace and just kind of got up, walked around, and prayed. Yeah, I would have been freaking out. All right. And so when it talks about Zechariah and how he's like, yeah, how am I supposed to know this is what's really going to happen? Like, I would have probably done the same thing. Mainly because I just want to make sure that it's God that I'm hearing. As for Joseph, something like that where it's, I don't know what I would have done if I was Joseph. So I would probably have been mutant, and that would have driven me crazy. And then people would rejoice with happiness because I'm quiet for once. That doesn't happen. The second question is off of Luke 137, and depending on what version you're reading from, is going to depend on how it reads. Here in the ESV, English Standard Version, as I throw a gift card around, it says, "For nothing will be impossible without God." And in the NIV version, it says, "For no word from God will ever fail." Basically just saying that God lives up to what he's saying, which is so true. And so the question is this: do you face a difficult or impossible situation? And yes, yeah, I think we all do. Right now, one of my most difficult situations is paying for this beautiful apartment that I'm living in, and it's only like $550, $600 to pay for everything, to include food and whatnot. But it's difficult. Working 40 hours a week, not getting to go out and do much with friends. It's hard sometimes. The other one is waiting for marriage. Like, man, I just want to find some cute girls sometime. So it's hard to wait. And the second question is, how can God's presence and power make the impossible possible for you? Well, there's two things. And at the end of the day, you both have, for both of these, with me, you have to go back to the Bible. So with the money issue, there's a passage that talks about the birds and how God takes care of these seemingly meaningless animals. Birds are great. I love birds, but there's not much that they do. They fly around, and God's like, yeah, they're pretty, yeah. We're like, yay, birds, dang it, they woke me up this morning, or whatever. But they're not here to worship God like we are. Like, he cares more about us than he does the birds. And yet the birds are fed every day, right? So that's how I would go back and point to the difficulty with like paying for the bills and making sure there's enough food in the house. God's got that covered. Like, I don't have to worry about it because it's already taken care of. And then the other one, Jeremiah talks about how God has a plan for us, a plan to prosper us, not to harm us, a plan for hope and the bright future. It's 29:11, and that's the other one we go for there. Just because it's like I want something now doesn't mean that God doesn't have something better later. And I think that's the thing that I always have to remind myself of is there's something that's going to be better. There's something coming up that's got more than what I could get now. So that's what I keep reminding myself of. And that's our study for the day. Tomorrow's is going to be Luke 2, chapter 2, verses 1 through 40. And I have this odd feeling that is another full chapter. I can let me tell you. Luke 2, 1 through 40. And that's all. It's not quite a full chapter, but it's a lot. It's a lot. And Jesus, it looks like it's basically when Jesus was a little baby. There you go. Peace.